My name is Spicey, and you are listening to the Project K podcast. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very grateful to be here.
No, it's all good, man. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like it was quite I'm not going to say a last minute thing, but I'm not as organized as I should be. But I think I do that to myself because, I think I work best if I'm like under pressure or something like that.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't think it's good, but I think I found that I work best that way, and so
As long as everything works out the way you want it to in the end, that's what counts.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, this episode is coming out a few weeks after the last one. I try to keep within fortnightly, on a fortnightly basis, but yeah, sometimes life gets in the way, and this is 3 weeks later. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast. Yes, like my friend here said, this is Spicey. What kind of music would you say you make?
I'd say I try to make a little bit of everything. I don't like restricting myself into one kind of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started with just kind of hip hop, with the end goal always being the more hyperpop, alt pop sort of sound. But I just try to make honestly whatever I feel like making that day. I don't really try to label my sound, I guess.
Yeah, so would you say it's kind of like the type of music you make is kind of just like an ongoing process, like you're not really just putting yourself under one umbrella?
I'm still very much figuring out what I'm doing with my music, and I think an important part of that is exploring all these different sounds and just trying new shit whenever I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's something that's important for artists to kind of explore other genres because they're so closely related that, you see with artists these days, Uzi.
Yeah.
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 I don't know if you listened to his last album, he had a few rock tracks on there,
Yeah, right. I have some mixed opinions on his latest project, but
yeah.
I like to see artists exploring, but it in the same way. Sometimes when I explore, it doesn't work. It doesn't. I think, yeah. We feel like Uzi's not the topic for this podcast, but yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Okay, so no Uzi for today. And your name, where did that come from? How did you just decide you wanted to?
So, Spicey is a family nickname. My last name's Spice, so it's just kind of everyone in my family has the nickname Spicey.
Damn.
So I just kind of went with that.
Yeah.
At some point in every one of my family's life, someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call you Spicy." That's a real original nickname that no one's ever come up with, but literally everyone in my family has that nickname.
And so your friends call you that as well, or?
Spice or Spicy. There's a lot of Joshes, so I kind of get. Oh yeah, my name's Josh, but so Spice or Spicy's kind of been what I've been referred to for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
Just to avoid confusion. I had another Josh in my friend group in high school, so we were just called by our last names.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've got thankfully I haven't met many people with the same name as me. So, but I'm always the butt of Keenan and Kel jokes, which is, I think I got way too old from high school onwards. But yeah, no, it's interesting trying to come up with a creative name, and sometimes it just comes really natural to some people with nicknames and stuff.
I've been through 3 or 4 different name changes from when I first started making music, and I had the Lil Spice way back when I started.
Yeah.
Everyone had a Lil in their name.
I think
at some
everyone
point.
was going through that, eh?
But I think we all grow out of that phase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the ones who don't make too much money to care. So
yeah. No, yeah. And what would you say you have influences in music, like some people who you kind of maybe try to tailor your music after, or some that kind of inspire you, or?
So I have, I'd say, 2 different types of influences from artists. There are artists who've influenced my, I'd say, creative process, and then there's artists separate from that who've influenced my sound. A big one for me in terms of my creative process is X. He just preached, just making whatever you wanted to make, and I very much have that same approach to my music. In terms of my sound, it's kind of out of left field for this one, but Jaden Smith, I think, is really underrated. His old music, his new music's kind of a little bit iffy, but his like first few projects, I think, are crazy, just in his approach to vocals and how he layers everything up. I definitely took a lot of inspiration from that and how I make my music. PRXJECTK are like all tied for my favorite artist. I wouldn't be making music without having listened to them growing up.
Yeah. No, yeah, I found X has been a huge inspiration to a lot of artists, and like coming up, his name is always mentioned when I talk to people. That doesn't surprise me with you. There was, when I was going through your SoundCloud, there was a song that you uploaded that I did see a lot of comparisons. I can't remember which one it was called. I think it might have been the first one that you would have uploaded to SoundCloud. It was quite it was a real acoustic type song. It was.
I have one on SoundCloud called Fake Love, where it's actually a kind of like that Shiloh Dynasty sounding beat, but it uses the Ayla outro from 17.
Oh, true.
But I'm not trying to think.
Really far back. This one.
Oh, that's an old song.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was like, I think maybe the second song I ever released. That one, that was the start of, I'd say, finding my sound, I guess. Because I've been playing guitar since I was 6.
Yeah.
And I really like when guitar is used, and like X did it. Obviously, most of 17 was all a guitar. And I just think hearing guitar used in a different way within a like different context musically, I think it's just cool to see the ways you can use such an instrument that's kind of associated with certain genres already, just using it in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I haven't even looked at that song in ages. I don't scroll that far to the bottom of my SoundCloud.
No, I try to do kind of like backgrounds. I like backgrounds on other artists like that, just to see the differences in the music from when they started to when they, from where they are now. So like seeing that song and then hearing the latest one you put up on SoundCloud as well, it's just such a huge contrast,
Yeah, back then I kind of didn't know how to do anything besides sing and play guitar, so that was kind of all I could do back then. But I've actually got a song coming out later this month that's pretty similar to that, where it's just me and a guitar, because I am trying to go back to my roots a little bit, and because all those old sounds I used to make, I really do love and have an appreciation for that style of music, but I also love hyperpop and all those crazy sounds. So
no, it's a genre I'm still trying to wrap my head around and still trying to figure out, because I see artists release music like that from time to time. They don't always release a lot of it, but sometimes like every now and then they'll pop up with a song like that.
Lil Bubblegum has one like random hyperpop track that's crazy. It's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah, I remember when he uploaded that, because this was like, I don't know, this is in the midst of his aesthetic type stuff, and then he released that. I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit different.
Yeah. See, I didn't like I was always listening to Snot, so when Lil Bubblegum was in his aesthetic rap phase, I just listened to Snot, but when I heard that track Hyper Rage, I was like, whoa, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many people in New Zealand, or there wasn't when I first started making hyperpop, and it was cool to see Lil Bubblegum, who at the time, and I guess now still is at the forefront of New Zealand hip-hop, just exploring that side of music.
No, yeah, he's really tearing it up on the scene at the moment.
Yeah.
Where did so you said you've been playing guitar since you were 6 years old, right? Like, did you grow up in a musical household, or like?
My dad and my granddad play guitar. I wouldn't say my entire family's musical, but they're very much enthusiasts of music.
Yeah.
I've grown up listening to everything, and in the same way that I kind of make a little bit of everything, I will always listen to kind of every genre, except country. I kind of struggle to listen to some country, but most other genres I'm all here for.
Yeah, that used to be the same with me as well. Like, I would not go near country music at all, and then it started they started moving it into other genres as well with like hip hop music, and then I heard this country song. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a country song. It's kind of like a mix of country, rock, and like liquid D&B.
Oh,
it's
random.
it's really random. Like, I'll show you it after. But yeah, my brother showed me. I was like, wow, this is too much going on in the song. But yeah, I think it's still it's not a genre I'd listen to on a day-to-day basis. So let's talk a bit more about the hyperpop genre. Like, I feel like it's there's bits and pieces of it like going around in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, there's not someone who's kind of like, well, not that I know of, that's kind of doing it on a regular. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that hyperpop isn't bigger in New Zealand, especially Wellington specifically, with how diverse the scene is here. But to me personally, like I was in like choirs and shit in high school, and I fucking hated it so much. But having that like musical education, hyperpop to me is everything that I was told music isn't, and that's why I just love it so much. It's like the vocals are always mixed awful, the auto-tune is always cranked up as fast as you can have it, the bass is always just almost making your ears bleed.
Yeah.
Just everything I was told music is not growing up, and I think that to me is why I'm kind of honestly a little bit obsessed with it. I think there's so much room in hyperpop to experiment as opposed to hip-hop where kind of everything's already been done. Hyperpop's still evolving. It's died off a little bit internationally, I'd say it's died off, but there's still so much changing in the genre, and I don't think it's a genre or a sound that has one set sound, you know what I mean? Like, it's always changing. The biggest hyperpop artists have all tweaked their sounds and aren't necessarily making hyperpop, but are using aspects of hyperpop in their music, and yeah, it's just an ever-changing genre that I'm, like I said, a little bit obsessed with. But
yeah, now that you mention it, like, when I'm thinking back to like songs I've heard in that genre, it's like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. It seems like a type of music that's just constantly evolving. And when I first heard it, it honestly to me sounded like arcade game noises, and I was just, I don't know, I don't think I'd listen to it enough to form an actual opinion on it.
Well, I think when I first found it, I was listening to it ironically for a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't, like, this isn't fire music, but it's, like, fun to listen to. And then one day I was like, oh, no, I actually just really like this.
Oh, that's usually how it goes, eh? You listen to it because you're like, oh, God, okay, here we go. And then
one day you're like, oh, okay.
like, wait, that actually sounds quite cool. So would you consider it kind of like an underrated genre at this moment, or?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm never like forcing hyperpop down people's throats because I get why people aren't into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely an acquired taste, so I don't expect everyone to be into it, but I think more people should give it a go because of how varied the genre is. I can guarantee everyone will find something in there that they like. It just might be at like the lowest end of hyperpop, like barely hyperpop, or you might be into the extremely hyperpop where it's like a chipmunk voice singing over top of some D&B track.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm still in that phase where it's just, I'll listen to it if I like it, and I probably wouldn't actively like try and like go out of my way to force myself to like it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. So what kind of we'll take it back to you this time. What do you? Well, first of all, how long have you been doing music?
In terms of making my music as Spicey, I'd say I started taking it more seriously last year. I've like I said, I've always been musical, and I was in choirs and played guitar since I was 6 and that, but I didn't really start making my own music properly until start of last year, end of 2021,
Yeah.
maybe, because it was kind of always just a hobby for me for a long time, and then I dropped out of school into year 13. Just couldn't. I hated school. It was fucking awful, and I moved to Tauranga, did a gap year there, and was just working and making music, and I was like, oh, I really only see myself doing this. Like, I can't imagine myself doing anything else for the rest of my life. So yeah, on and off throughout my entire life, but I'd say about 2 years seriously is that's when I kind of started meeting some people and kind of putting myself out there a little bit more.
Yeah, and how are you finding it, being an independent artist in Wellington?
I think because I was in Tauranga when I started taking it seriously. Up there is a scene, but not for someone trying to make hyperpop.
Yeah.
And so I think coming back to Wellington was definitely the right call for me. And everyone that I've met in the scene here are all just cool people, you know, like they're all, whether they are into my music or not, they're down to like support it, you know what I mean? I think the whole underground in Wellington are just very uplifting of everyone, and it's just really cool to see, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about like the Auckland scene and all that, but I might be biased when I say Wellington scene's awesome, but I do just think it's cool seeing it change so much.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time, but like, that's the thing that's so good about Wellington. It's just, you know, I haven't heard anyone that doesn't want to support like everyone else coming up, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things I will mention though is with everyone supporting everyone, it's kind of like it does make it hard because the market is very oversaturated at the moment, and like, how do you find it trying to do music in an industry that's it's just getting bigger like with every day, you know?
It's definitely, that's a tricky one. I'm lucky making the music that I make where I fall into a niche within a niche, so there's not many people really making my sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'd say there's a lot of artists in the underground that kind of make it to this point, and then I wouldn't say get trapped there, but then there's just a lot of artists that kind of get there. I don't know if I'm wording this right, but like people know them in Wellington, but I feel like because there's so much going on in Wellington, it's hard to get out of the Wellington scene.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's yeah, some people can reach a certain point where it's like they get here, but kind of like taking that next leap is just one step that's just very, very hard to take, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do have a lot of respect for like artists and stuff, and it is a hard industry to navigate because, you know, everyone's in the same lane. It's just, unless I don't know, you know, with some artists that some of their songs just hit different, and then they get a bit more popularity, you know, like you know, Sempra. Yeah, like his trajectory has been insane.
I mean, seeing him collab with Ski, that was crazy. That blew my mind that Ski was even like looking at New Zealand.
Well, they've got he's got a good team behind him, and I think his label as well. They, you know, labels do as much as everyone is being independent artists nowadays. Like, labels do have a certain pull that, that can take you just a bit further,
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, that was crazy. When I saw that, I was like, well, damn.
I remember he posted that snippet, and just at the end, it was just Ski going, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?"
Yeah. It, when you see, like, stuff like that happen, does that give you kind of, like, an extra push or something when you're, as an artist?
Definitely. It was, because in my course at uni, in one of the industry classes, my lecturer was talking about how the New Zealand music industry is very self-contained, and it's very hard to break out of the New Zealand scene. Like, there are plenty of artists that make it to be a national act, but taking that step from New Zealand to international is hard. So seeing Sempra and seeing the New Zealand industry interact with America's industry, which is just like the music industry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It definitely just, I don't know, gave me a little bit of hope for the New Zealand scene. Like, we're definitely getting a bit bigger for our little 6 million people country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
There's a few more eyes on New Zealand these days, which is cool to see.
Yeah, well, I saw the other day, I'm pretty sure they're bringing a Rolling Loud to New Zealand as well.
I think they're doing Australia first.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah.
I don't know if they confirmed NZ, but that would be crazy.
Oh, yeah, I think just because I think what it was like Rolling Loud, like ANZ or something like that, so I think people kind of just, like, got really...
I'd say Australia will be like their test run, and if
I
it's
think so,
big enough in Australia, might do a little one here, like how they have listen out and then listen in New Zealand. But yeah, that'd be nuts. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I need to see Ski live. That's like bucket list right there.
Well, I'm just trying to think if he's actually come to New Zealand at some point. Like,
he hasn't. Me and my mates would have been there. We would have been there. Like seeing, because Uzi's on the listen in lineup for this year. That's nuts. Like,
because isn't Metro's going to be there as well, Metro Boomin.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like festivals, so I don't plan on going, but I just saw Uzi was on the lineup and I was like, fuck, no way.
No, yeah, festivals they're a funny one, because it's like a good opportunity to see a lot of artists you like, but like the whole festival like vibe, it's just...
I just can't pay. Like, if I went to listen in, I'd be going to see Uzi. I'd go watch his 15-minute set and then leave. Like, it just wouldn't be worth it for me.
Yeah, I think that's why sometimes when they have their festivals on, they try and extend these artists' stay in New Zealand by giving them like a single show or something like that, or like even like a club show, or yeah. But I heard listening last year was a bit of a shit show.
I heard that Trippy was good.
Yeah,
because I had mates who went just to see Trippy and then left after his set. But yeah, I think besides Trippy, I heard it was just kind of eh.
I don't think it helped that the weather wasn't that good as well.
Yeah.
Like I heard, because my brother went and he's like, the weather was just terrible, but I think just like excusing the weather, it's like, I don't know, it was just badly run at that stage.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes this year.
Is this still going? Is that
yeah, it's still going. It's just on a
doing
on a
its thing?
sleep. No, it's fine. It's fine. What do you think would be your next moves for the next few months? Will you just be releasing music and doing what you're doing, or?
I'm planning on, because I've kind of every year for the last 2 years, I've tried to release a project, like a full album at the start of each year, and then just kind of drop singles. But I did the album at the start of the year and then EP a couple months back, and I want to just kind of slow down from forcing out albums constantly.
Yeah.
Because I think as much as I put everything I can into the big projects, I'd rather put everything I can into a few songs here and there and just kind of spread them out. I also want to try get into some live performances.
Yeah.
I hopefully have something coming up. I don't actually know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but I hopefully have something lined up in the next couple months.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a whole very, very daunting kind of area for me. I've never really stepped into the live scene.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, how do you do in front of like crowds or?
It's like with all the like music I did growing up, I was in like school bands and all that, and that was always fine. But I think the idea of presenting songs that I've written and produced and just like put all this work into, as opposed to performing someone else's song as a cover, that's kind of terrifying. But I got to do it, I got to take that step, or else I'm just stuck as an internet rapper, or rapper musician. Rapper's not the right term to describe me at all. But yeah, it's definitely an important step, I think, not only in my career but for anyone making music, is that step into doing live shows. But yeah, the first one's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I think me personally, I don't think I could do it. Well, I mean, I don't make music that people want to listen to, but yeah, even if I'm at like events and doing the videography for it, it's like I hate getting up on stage and trying to get footage like that. It's like, I mean, I'm not the attention's not on me, but I'm still up there and
just presenting yourself with a camera.
Yeah, it's like the artist doing his thing, and I'm just trying to like. But I like to see it as a learning process as well. Like, as daunting as it can be, like if you take it in a certain way, that next time, what to do better and what not to do. It's like,
I'm just praying I have auto-tune. Live Hyperpop's not going to work if I don't have auto-tune. It's just it'll be a little bit hard to listen to, I think.
No, I mean, I think a lot of the venues are quite good, and the ones I've been to, they'll either have it, I mean, I don't know the technical side of it, but they either have it like built into the microphones, or I don't know, I've seen like when there's like this thing on stage that
you can get like auto-tune pedals.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I think it should be fine. There was one time I saw where there was an artist who used it, but the pedal was just it was real janky.
Oh, true.
And it just like, it wasn't working for him, and it, like at certain times. But yeah, I think, learning process.
Yeah,
sometimes
definitely.
it's not always going to go the way you want it to, but
my backup plan is I have enough like old songs from when I was just like rapping all the time, where I wouldn't need auto-tune. That's like the backup plan, but I would prefer to, on a live show, perform some hyperpop.
Yeah.
As that's kind of, people ask me what kind of music I make. I say I make hyperpop, because the rap and like hip hop's kind of more of just like I fuck around every now and then and make it because it's fun to make. You know what I mean? It's not like what I take seriously.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things why I like rap, or like even, just, like when you learn just rap songs, like you don't have to be a good singer. So.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot more just go have fun in hip hop.
Yeah, definitely.
Another big thing I learned from X was him and Ski just have songs where they're just shit talking for 3 minutes.
Oh, their like chemistry on songs was just unparalleled.
Yeah.
But like they're like both of them, like their expression and their music, it varies so much, but it works so well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like with you got a song like Take a Step Back, and how hardcore that is, and then you got music on X's 17 album, which is a lot softer and very but yeah, with your music, like how do you approach it when you want to write a song? Do you have like already written lyrics down for it, or?
I kind of have like, I go through, so when I first started, I wrote everything. Because I'm not really a big freestyle guy. I think a lot of people think they can freestyle, but not many people can actually freestyle. And so whenever I was writing any song way back in the day, I'd always pen to paper and a little notebook, write it down. And then for my second album, I just did punch-ins, and because people will call a punch-in a freestyle. It's not a freestyle. People need to stop saying that a punch-in is a freestyle. It's not. And that was working fine for me, but then the last EP that I released, that was all written again, and I would normally start with a simple melody, or like a guitar or something. I'll come up with a vocal, just like 1 or 2 lines of vocals, record that. Sometimes I record the whole song with no drums, and it's just me and whatever instrument I chose as the melody, and then I do all my drums afterwards. So I end up with like 3 different versions of the same song where they all have different drums, and I pick and choose which parts I like and then put them all together afterwards. In terms of how I've seen other people make music, I feel like the way I do my recording process is a bit different, but I find it gives me more room to just play around with what I'm doing, as opposed to finishing a beat and then recording the vocals over the beat. I like to make my vocals part of the beat as opposed to sitting on top. So I like to do all the drums around the vocals.
Yeah.
I don't, especially with hyperpop, because I think hyperpop is a lot less about what you're saying and it's more about the production and how everything just fits in together and all the editing afterwards.
Yeah. What do you use?
FL.
Was it kind of just like a teaching yourself type thing, or do you have someone to?
Yeah, I got FL initially in the first lockdown. I was just sitting inside and I was like, I just need something to do. I'll try and learn how to make beats. They were god awful, man. That was so bad. But it was a lot of just YouTube tutorials and just playing around. I feel like I watched YouTube tutorials for the basics, and then I just was like, I'll figure the rest out myself. And nothing that I've learned at uni has helped me with my music. Everything has just been like myself.
Yeah. Uni's
a scam. I can't stand it. I'm ready to leave, man. I'm so done.
It's because I did a couple of years of film school because I thought, that was the best way for me to, learn how to do this kind of stuff. But I found that as soon as I left, I did learn while I was there, but I think I found the most valuable experience I got was from actually doing projects myself and
definitely.
kind of just learning on the job and just learning as I go. Because there's no better experience than actual practical work. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So did you go into all this wanting to make direct movies or short films? What was the?
Yeah. So I wanted. I had that big, when they tell you what you really want to do, just want to make movies. Yeah. But, I understood what went into making movies and what you needed and how tough it is. And it didn't scare me from making short films and just movies. I think it helped me narrow down which areas I wanted to do. And I got to a certain point after I finished where I was like, okay, I can write as many scripts as I can do, but unless I have people to do it, then it's a bit hard for me. And so I decided, I was like, okay, what are 2 things that I really like to do, or what 2 things that I really love? And that was music and film. I was like, okay, how can I mix those 2 together? Music videos. And if that wasn't working, how else can I guess, contribute to the scene and get more involved? So I had a contact who was very familiar with the underground scene, and he got me onto one person, and then another person got me onto another, and so on and so on. And then I just started doing all this kind of stuff, and
it's crazy seeing how all that evolves.
I've quickly found that if you're trying to pursue something, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to. You might think you can go from one thing to another, but it's going to pivot everywhere you go, And I've had to really get out of my comfort zone to, have these opportunities. Even just me and you talking here today, like, you know, I wouldn't be talking to you unless it was, you know, if I didn't do the work that was done before. And no, it's quite cool. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I can't wait to find out where it does.
Yeah, because I feel like I have the exact same approach to my music. Like,
Yeah.
I started initially wanting to be a producer and then couldn't find anyone to use my beats because they were asked. Like, at the time, I was like, why is no one hopping on my beats, man? It's because they were shit. They were god-awful. And then I was like, oh, I could just hop on my beats. And yeah, that spiraled into making the worst genre of music in existence.
Yeah, that's there's something that there's like a little bit of advice that I wish I was told a lot earlier, like ages ago, and that's like, you know, like do it, like make it happen yourself. Like you can, it's there's no point trying to wait for things to happen, like wait for opportunities to come around and wait for, you know, you to learn these skills in the school, and that's like, you know, just do it yourself. Like it's going to be ass to start off with, but that's how you get better.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And like, you know, like even with this, I'm still learning how to properly edit everything and the videos and the audio. It's quite cool to try and edit the audio because you kind of see, I guess, how to make it better. And yeah.
Is there much like effects in that go into it? It's buzzy, like, because I mix vocals for music, obviously. Like, you must have to mix it differently for a podcast.
I try to mix it. I'm not good at it. So I think I just try to edit it as well as I can, because I do record it in GarageBand and then I just edit it in Logic.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's a bit of a process, but
Logic freaks me out. We were meant to be using it in that tech course that I started and swapped out of, and they were like, yeah, we can only use Logic. I was like, nah, it's not for me. No, I'm out.
I think I'm in the wrong class.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's I only use it because I would like to use FL, but it's such a bitch to get on Mac, or to get it on the Mac.
Yeah.
But yeah, my brother uses Logic quite a bit, and so I just, I learn off him because he's a audio engineer.
Oh, true.
Yeah, and just get a few tips from him, and yeah, like I said, believe it or not, I make beats too.
Oh, yeah.
that ass, but
You definitely send me some to listen to. I'm curious. I'm keen to hear them.
I may or may not take you off on that one. No, I'm still learning, just because it's like, I'm just making them and then seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and
Yeah.
the whole mixing and mastering, that's something I just cannot wrap my head around.
Yeah, that for me was the hardest thing to figure out. And I realized the other day I was recording with someone, and we were recording on my mic, and it's like I know how to mix my voice, but he hopped on my mic and he was recording, and we were mixing it, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to mix your voice. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Because I've got all my presets made that I just use every time and make tweaks for my voice, and it just doesn't work for other people's voices.
Yeah.
So that's tricky. It's a tricky part of the whole process.
Yeah. No, it really is an art.
Yeah.
To like mix and master, and I do have a lot of respect for producers and artists who are able to do that, because it's really not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if I send you anything. It's not that good at all.
Got to start somewhere, I'm telling you.
Yeah. I actually used to do it. I actually used to make music in high school, because I was such a huge fan of like EDM music and that, and so I wanted to make stuff that was like that. But then it was just so on and off. Like I would just try and make it and then leave it for months, and then but no. That's all good. So your course, like, run me through what it is again.
So I'm majoring in music industry.
Yeah.
And so we're studying, essentially the way that I explain it to people is how to turn music into a career.
So it's almost like theoretical, and
There's a lot of, like, yes, it's theoretical, but like this, like one of the projects for this semester for one of my classes is we have to arrange or like put on a gig, and the industry students take care of all the marketing and promo and like running the gig. The practice students do all the performances themselves, and all the tech students do all the live sound and that. So there's a lot of practical aspects within the course, but my side of it is very much the business end, and like what the class I've enjoyed the most was last semester. I did a artist development class, and that was a class aimed at people who wanted to go on to be managers. But as an independent artist, I definitely learned quite a lot from that, and I honestly like implemented or trying to implement a lot of that into my like release plans, and that I try not to stress too much about having a schedule for releases and this and that, but I'm trying to think about it a little bit more, because I know that it is important as much as I wish it wasn't, and I wish that playing to algorithms and this and that wasn't an important part of making music, but it just is these days. It's you can't really avoid it. Like TikTok, I fucking hate TikTok, but you have to use it. I can't stand it, man. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But like even my lecturer said, she was like, yeah, like if you're not making TikToks to promote your music, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not gonna name him, but there was an artist I did talk to who, you know, like yourself, he did really hate TikToks, and like having to make videos like that to get his music out there. Yeah. And then and then a couple of months ago, he started making them eventually. I was like, interesting. I was like, yeah, your team definitely didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's a, you know, I'm not going to say it's unfortunate, because it is a good way to get your music out there. It's just, you know how you do it, and it's just something you have to do. Eh?
There's a do you know the artist JME?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said on a podcast that like he's disappeared from the music industry because he just hates the state of it these days. And I feel like if I hadn't come into the industry at this stage, I would have been with him. But it's just kind of the musical climate that we're in now is make these cringy fucking videos and just do all this shit, man.
No, yeah, because I remember, I'm pretty sure, because JME, I remember he released an album, but he didn't release it online. I think he only released it in like physical copies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he was like doing promo for this album he was doing, but said he wasn't going to release it online or anything like that.
He's very anti-industry at the moment, and like I'm all for it. Like, yeah, it's so shit, man. It's so shit.
Yeah, like I think it's good that artists nowadays, like independent artists, are learning more about the industry and not having to rely on other people to like kind of navigate their careers until they're in a position where they have the leverage themselves.
Right, and I think because of the kind of resources that are available to artists as well, when they get offered a deal and that these days, they look a little bit more into it first, and they're not just signing their souls away to some corporation anymore.
Yeah.
Like I know, his name's slipping from my mind right now, but post like SoundCloud era, Uzi and all the artists that kind of came up after them, a lot, like I know Lil Tecca went through some pretty crazy shit with his label for a bit as well, and Uzi as well. He had like I think I remember him, like he like slept with his manager's girl or something, and then they just like held all his music. But yeah, these days there's a lot more knowledge given to the artists to kind of better gauge what they're getting themselves into.
Hell yeah, because like in the past you've seen like prime examples of artists that have you know, like huge artists that make amazing music. It's hugely popular, but behind the scenes, you know, they've got other people who, you know, like tweaking their deals and, you know, it's just because they don't fully understand it. And I mean, you know, they rely on people to have their best interests in heart, but really that's the other way around.
So Ian Dior, that's what I was
Ian
thinking
Dior,
of.
yeah.
He got fucked by his label.
Yeah.
Because of that, he's just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. But
yeah, it's quite sad when you see like artists that pop off and then all of a sudden it's...
Yeah, as soon as that label makes enough money off them, they're just like, yep, sweet.
Yeah, because they're only interested in, you know, what's, like who's next and what's popular next and... Yeah, but no, yeah, definitely something that independent artists should do is, you know, learn about it and be knowledgeable and that kind of stuff, so that if the day ever comes, they're in the best position possible to negotiate.
In one of my courses, we were learning about like how to write contracts and how to read contracts and what to look out for in a bad contract and all that. And like I don't know, it's just good information that I think everyone needs to know. Definitely. Because there's a term in perpetuity or something, and it pretty much means that if you sign that, the label owns your music forever, like until Earth stops existing. Like, and it's just messed up. It's just like it's just so wrong, man.
Do you have people in your classes that do music like yourself?
Yeah, there was honestly a minority of people in that artist development class that were wanting to be managers. It was mainly just independent artists who wanted to get some insight on the industry. It's because I'm at Massey, and it's definitely a very art focused school. And I've like my friend group growing up, like I love all my boys. They're absolute just legends, but I was kind of always the only like creative, and so being amongst like-minded people now at uni, as much as I hate it so much, the networking, I guess, at uni's been awesome.
It really does help to surround yourself with like-minded people who, you know, I guess when you're in the same like position, like creatively, and when you're wanting to get into the same industry, like everyone just, you know, bounces off each other. And,
like I'd never recorded like Hyperpop in the same room as someone till I got to uni, because I met some dude who we had like a mutual online friend off, and we were like, oh shit, let's go record. And that's been really cool, because most of the, I guess, collab projects I've done have been via Discord, via Instagram, like just long distance. I don't really get to record with people in person very often, so that's been really fun.
So you've got your own like kind of setup at your place, and
I don't actually like the studios at school. I feel like I get real like tense in a studio environment. I definitely prefer like a mic in my bedroom and just my computer. I'm just a lot more relaxed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's also your own space as well. Like, you know, it sounds really weird, but like, you know where everything is, you know where it works, and it's as much as I'm not gonna say high tech, but it's just like a higher quality studio is. It's like it can be a little daunting at times.
Well, I think lockdown was massive for people realizing that you don't need a multi-million-dollar studio.
Hell yeah, I completely agree.
Everyone just started making music in their bedroom. And because I remember I was recording when I first started, was just a USB snowball, Blue Yeti snowball, and like it's genuinely all you need. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a setup that's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. I think I've put $300 into my setup, excluding my PC that I just already had. Like it's not crazy to get started.
No, hell yeah. Like that's how it's, you know, it's and that's the thing, it's like that's how everyone starts out. Like if they have their own stuff, and you know, they can just make music on the fly, and well, I think we might end it there. We've had a very good chat. Nice. We've lasted over 50 minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Nice work.
No, it's all good. I do want to mention something before we cut off. I do want to thank you for supporting the podcast as well. I do see, the just the little things that you've done to support the podcast. So it's really, I really appreciate it.
No, I think this podcast, like I said to you on Instagram a while ago, like the first time I actually watched an episode, it wasn't just like some people shit talking for an hour. You know what I mean? Because I think like there's not going to name names, some people in my halls that make a podcast, and it's just like the most generic shit ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just good to see just someone, not just because it's music related and I love music and that, but it's just the conversations that you have, they're just interesting. It's not just white dudes talking about random shit. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think it's massive for the Wellington scene as well. I think it's really cool to see, and the range of artists you've had on here. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's like I think when I started this, I wanted to do it differently, and I wanted to, I guess, show people that we can, talk more about not just music, but everyone and how they feel about the industry, and just talk about the real stuff, and like you said, not bullshit and not shit talk, and but thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I will so this will go up very, very soon, pretty much tomorrow, and I will put your links everywhere, but for anyone that is interested in wanting to see your music and listen to your music, where can they find you?
So I am Spicey on all platforms. That's SPICEY. People leave the E out a lot, but yes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah, Spicey with an E.
Spicey with an E.
Spicey with an E. Nice. Well, thank you so much for being on.
It's been awesome to be here.
Nice. And that's us.